Take a slow breath. Whatever air just filled your lungs, hold on to that feeling. Because in the city we're about to enter, breathing is the first thing that turns against you. Somewhere on Earth, 20 million people wake every morning to a wall of horns. The trains are crowded and dangerous. A sky the color of wet cement, and air so thick it isn't fog. It's smoke, dust, and exhaust, pressed down over their heads like a lid. This is a country routinely ranked among the most polluted on the planet. A country so crowded that if the whole human race lived this tightly, we'd all fit inside a space smaller than Texas. Its main river through the capital is, by the measure scientists use, biologically dead. And its name carries a rumor the whole internet repeats that here, women share one husband. Most of that is true. One part of it is not. And the strangest thing you'll find is not the poison or the crowding. It's the people still standing inside it, unbroken. This is real life in Bangladesh. We start with Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, and decide with our own eyes whether it really is the most poisoned city on Earth. Here's what the science says. In 2024, the average amount of fine dust hanging in Dhaka's air was more than 15 times what the World Health Organization considers safe to breathe. Not on the worst day, on an average day across the whole year. And in early 2026, the city was still climbing into the top 10 most polluted places on the planet, some mornings sitting at number 4. Think about what that means for a body. Fine dust this small doesn't stop at your throat. It slips past every defense your lungs have and settles deep inside, day after day, for a lifetime. An entire city breathing it as the price of being home. So why here? Why is the air this bad? The answer isn't mystery, it's math. Ringed around the city sit thousands of brick kilns, furnaces burning coal and wood to feed a construction boom that never stops. Add the exhaust of 1 million vehicles crawling nowhere. Add the dust of endless building. Then, in winter, the cold air sinks and traps all of it in place, a poison lid pressed down over the people below. It's a loop with no easy exit. Every fix for one problem feeds another. Build more, and you burn more bricks. Burn more bricks, and you choke the very people you're building for. One visitor said it plainly after a trip to Dhaka. It took him weeks just to stop coughing. So where are you watching this from right now? Let's travel together to Dhaka in Bangladesh and decide whether it really is the most polluted city in the world. But the air is only half of what's poisoning this city. Look down at the water. Cutting straight through the heart of Dhaka runs the Buriganga. Once it was a lifeline. Today, scientists have a colder word for it. Dead. Not dead as a figure of speech, dead by measurement. In parts of the river, the oxygen dissolved in the water drops to almost nothing. A tiny fraction of the level any fish, any living thing needs to survive. Nothing breathes down there. The river that gave the city life can no longer hold life of its own. Here's how a river dies. More than 7,000 industrial facilities and millions of tons of wastewater from the textile industry are discharged directly into the river every year. Almost all of Dhaka's sewage, well over 1 billion liters of it every single day, pours straight into these waters because the pipes to carry it somewhere better don't exist for most of the city. Add the poison from tanneries and factories. Add the trash of 20 million people with nowhere else to put it. And it isn't only the river in the capital. Out in the countryside, millions of people draw their drinking water from wells laced with natural arsenic, one of the largest mass poisonings in human history, invisible in every clear, ordinary-looking glass. But here's the part the headlines skip. This country is not sitting still. Back in 2017, the government forced hundreds of toxic tanneries out of the city center at enormous cost, trying to give the river a chance. The problem is bigger than any single fix. Sewage keeps flowing. The drains still reach only a fraction of homes, and the water keeps paying the price. If a story like this, the kind the glossy travel channels never show you, feels like it deserves to reach more people, tap the hype button below. Each hype lasts only a few seconds, but it helps push this video out to a much wider audience. We'd be very grateful, because the water and the air make the headlines. But the title promised something stranger, something about the people themselves. That in Bangladesh, women share one husband. It's the kind of line that spreads across the internet because it sounds impossible. So let's do something the videos that started that rumor never bothered to do. Let's tell the truth. The practice of one woman marrying several husbands has a name, polyandry, and it is real. But it survives only in a handful of isolated communities scattered across the world, high in the Himalayas of Tibet and Nepal, in a few valleys of northern India, among the Irigwe people of Nigeria. Every reliable record of it, from Pew Research to major encyclopedias, points to those same remote places. None of them point to Bangladesh. So where did the rumor come from? Most likely from viral videos that stretched a headline until it snapped, because outrage travels faster than accuracy. But there is a real story here about marriage, and it runs the other direction. In Bangladesh, it's a man who may legally take more than one wife, up to 4 under Islamic family law. Except even that comes with strings the rumor never mentions. He needs written permission from an arbitration council and the consent of the wife he already has. And in practice, fewer than 1 in 100 Bangladeshi men ever do it. So the great marriage secret turns out to be this. The truth is quieter, more human, and more bound by rules than the rumor ever was. Which raises a fair question about the rest of what you think you know about this place. Because marriage is just one thread. The force that stretches this society to its breaking point is something far more basic: sheer, staggering numbers. Here is the fact that explains almost everything else about this country. Bangladesh packs roughly 170 million people into a space about the size of the state of Iowa. Let that land on you for a second. That's more people than live in Mexico, folded into a country 1/13 of Mexico's size. And to picture how tight that really is, try this. If every human being alive squeezed together as densely as people live in Bangladesh, all 8 billion of us would fit inside an area smaller than Texas and California combined. Inside Dhaka itself, the crush reaches over 20,000 people per square mile. So why does everyone pile in like this? Why not spread out? Because the countryside is running out of room and out of work. Every year, rivers flood the farmland. And every year, more families give up the fields and pour into the capital chasing a job. Any job. Around 20 million of them have now crowded into the small stretch of city that is Dhaka, a place its roads and pipes were never built to hold. And that raises a darker question. How does anyone survive here at all? Keep watching, because the answer starts on the road. Pack that many people onto streets never designed for them, and you get the single most dangerous, most impossible commute on the planet. In Bangladesh, trains are extremely crowded, with horns blaring loudly. Many people cling to the sides and climb onto the roofs of trains, train surfing without buying tickets. Due to the shortage of trains and poverty, people have to compromise their safety when traveling. On the water, approximately 50,000 to 100,000 people cross the Dhaka River area daily on small wooden boats at a very cheap cost of about 10 taka, 8 cents per trip. Overcrowded ferries and multi-deck boats operate on the river, frequently causing accidents. In Dhaka, traffic isn't an inconvenience, it's a slow catastrophe measured in billions. The gridlock here swallows around $6.5 billion a year and burns something like 5 million working hours every single day, time that evaporates while people sit still. On the main roads, average speed has dropped to about 3 miles an hour, slower than walking. A city of 20 million moving slower than its own footsteps. And the flood of vehicles never stops rising. In just over a decade, the number of cars in Dhaka more than doubled, with dozens of new ones hitting the streets every day. But the deadliest part isn't the cars, it's what happens between them. Most road deaths in Dhaka come from the simplest act imaginable. A person trying to cross the street on foot, threading through a wall of metal that never fully stops. Why can't the city just fix it? Because it's tried, and the chaos fights back. When authorities banned the swarm of battery-powered rickshaws in 2024, tens of thousands of drivers flooded the streets in protest within days. The government reversed the ban in less than a week. In a city this crowded, you cannot clear the road with an order. The road always wins. And in that impossible traffic, the real kings of the street aren't the cars at all. They're powered by human legs. Dhaka has earned a title no other city can claim. It is the rickshaw capital of the world. Home to something like 500,000 to 1 million of them, painted, jingling, everywhere. They are the bloodstream of the city. But behind every one of those handlebars is a man and an arithmetic that would stop your heart. A rickshaw driver in Dhaka might earn somewhere between $7 and $12 in a full day of pedaling. Then he hands back around 5 of those dollars just to rent the vehicle he sweated over. What's left, $2, maybe $7, is what a whole family lives on. One driver put it plainly: he had to borrow money from relatives just to eat. And here's who ends up on those seats: farmers who lost their land to the floods, factory workers who lost their jobs, men with disabilities who cannot pedal, so they save for a battery-powered one, because for them, that machine is the last job left in the world. This is the part the pollution numbers can never show you. Every gray statistic about this city is really a story about a body, someone breathing that air, pedaling that impossible distance, carrying strangers through the smoke so his children can eat tonight. Their grit is remarkable. But wait until you see what people here do just to survive. Every day, Dhaka produces more than 6,000 tons of solid waste, enough to fill over 300 garbage trucks. And much of it is never collected at all. Why does the trash win? For the same reason the river dies. The city's drains reach only about a fifth of its homes, so most of the sewage and much of the garbage flows straight into the canals and the river. The system to catch it was never built to keep pace with a population growing this fast. But the most haunting thing in this chapter isn't the mountain of waste. It's what some people do with it to stay alive. In the dark, beneath the city's jewelry district, there are men who work the sewers. They sift the wastewater that drains from the gold and silver workshops above, filtering it grain by grain, hoping to recover a few flecks of precious dust. They work at night because of the smell. And from that filth, sometimes, comes just enough gold to buy a meal. Sit with that for a moment. It's a hard image, and it raises an honest question. If you had to work far from home, in conditions like these, just to feed your family, do you think a country deserves to be judged this harshly for its poverty? Tell us where you stand in the comments, because nothing captures that will to survive more than the clothes on your own back. And many of them were sewn right here. Look down at whatever you're wearing right now. There's a real chance part of it began its life in this country. Bangladesh is one of the largest garment exporters on Earth. Around 4 million people stitch the clothes that fill Western closets, and roughly 80% of them are women. And in early 2026, this country did something extraordinary. It overtook China to become the second largest supplier of garments to the United States. The very workers you've been pitying are quietly clothing half the Western world. But that industry carries a wound this country will never forget. On an April morning in 2013, a building called Rana Plaza collapsed. Inside were the garment workers who made those cheap Western clothes. When the dust settled, 1,134 people were dead, and around 2,500 more were injured. Most of them were young women. And the cruelest detail is this. The day before, workers had seen the cracks in the walls and raised the alarm. They were ordered back to their machines anyway. That is the true price tag. A shirt that costs a few dollars was, for over 1,000 people, the last thing they ever made. And yet, watch what these people did next. Within 3 weeks of the collapse, a safety accord was forged, binding more than 200 global brands to inspect over 1,500 factories. In late 2025, Bangladesh went further, ratifying every core international labor standard. The conditions are far from perfect, and the workers still fight for fair pay. But those women are not victims in a story about tragedy. They are the backbone of an entire economy, sending wages home, putting their children through school, refusing to break. So here is the question worth arguing about. Is Bangladesh a warning of an overcrowded planet, or the greatest story of human resilience on Earth? After what you've just seen, tell us where you stand. And amid all of this struggle, millions of people draw their strength from something the chaos cannot touch: faith. Just north of Dhaka, on the banks of the Turag River, something happens once a year that is almost impossible to picture. Millions of people gather in one place for 3 days to pray. It's called the Bishwa Ijtema, and it is the second largest Muslim gathering anywhere on earth, behind only the Hajj in Mecca. To grasp the scale, imagine the entire population of a major American city setting down everything and folding together onto a few square miles of riverbank. Pilgrims travel in from dozens of countries to be there. Many ride for hours, standing shoulder to shoulder in trains packed past their limit just to reach it. Why come all that way into this much hardship for 3 days on a crowded floodplain? Because for millions of people here, in a life stretched thin by struggle, this is where the struggle is given meaning. When a person owns almost nothing, belonging to something vast can become the richest thing they have. It's a reminder that even the poorest place on the map holds something the wealthiest cannot buy. Now leave the crowds of the capital behind, because Bangladesh hides a side almost no outsider expects: wild, green, and untouched. Follow the river south until the city disappears and you reach the Sundarbans, the largest single stretch of mangrove forest in the world. A maze of water and green so vast it spills across the border into India. It's a place the United Nations protects as a treasure of humanity, and it hides a predator found almost nowhere else like this. This is one of the last homes of the wild Bengal tiger. Here's how rare that has become. The most recent count, from 2024, found 125 of them on the Bangladeshi side of the forest. That sounds impossibly small, but look closer and it's a quiet miracle, because just 6 years earlier, there were only 114. In a country this crowded, this poor, the tigers are not vanishing. They're slowly coming back. These are also among the rare forests on Earth where a human being is not the top of the food chain. For the people who venture in, the leading cause of death isn't disease or accident, it's the tiger itself. The honey collectors and fishermen who enter wear masks on the backs of their heads, hoping to fool a predator that prefers to strike from behind. And these forests do more than shelter tigers. Standing between the ocean and the land, this wall of mangroves absorbs the fury of the cyclones that roar up out of the Bay of Bengal, quietly shielding millions of people who will never know its name. And where the mangroves finally end, the longest beach on Earth begins. Along the country's southern edge runs a stretch of sand so long it barely seems real. Cox's Bazar, an unbroken beach running more than 75 miles down the coast, widely regarded as the longest natural sea beach in the world. It carries a strange history in its name, borrowed from a British East India Company captain from the 1700s. Today, it's one of the country's great escapes, where families who spend their days breathing Dhaka's smoke come to stand at the edge of the water, where the air is finally clean, and just breathe. For a people crushed by crowding, an open horizon is its own kind of luxury. But beauty and hardship live side by side here, only hours apart. Just up the coast sits Kutupalong, one of the largest refugee settlements on the planet, where close to 1 million Rohingya people have taken shelter. The same coastline holds the country's postcard and one of its heaviest human burdens: in the same frame. Beaches and tigers surprise outsiders, but the real color of Bangladesh isn't in its scenery, it's in its people. Step into a Bangladeshi celebration and the gray of Dhaka disappears in an explosion of color. Women in bright saris, hands and feet traced in deep red patterns of henna for weddings and festivals. A whole visual language of joy layered over daily hardship. And the festivals are enormous. The Muslim holidays of Eid draw the entire country together. But there's one that belongs to Bangladesh alone, Pohela Boishakh, the Bengali New Year. Its opening parade, filled with giant handmade masks and figures symbolizing good defeating evil, has been recognized by the United Nations as a cultural treasure of humanity. An entire people pours into the streets in color, no matter how thick the air. And ask the outsiders who've actually stayed here, and the story shifts. For every visitor who couldn't wait to leave, there's another who quietly admits it, that despite the pollution, despite the crowds, they came to love their time here because of how warmly they were treated. But no fact about this country hits harder than a single, small act of kindness on its streets. There are, by most estimates, hundreds of thousands of children living on the streets of this country, a great many of them in Dhaka alone. Which is exactly why the smallest gesture toward just one of them echoes so loudly. Picture it. In the middle of a place the world keeps calling hell on earth, a stranger stops for a single street child, buys him clean clothes, buys him shoes, treats him for one afternoon like a child who is loved and worth something. And the boy's face fills with a gratitude so pure it undoes you. This is the answer to every lazy assumption about the poor, that hardship must have hardened them, that they somehow brought it on themselves. Poverty did not steal this child's dignity, and it did not steal the stranger's compassion. In a country stripped of nearly everything, the one thing that refuses to die is the instinct to care for one another. That, more than any statistic, is what the cameras that come here searching for misery almost always miss. And that dignity isn't only personal, it's quietly powering one of the most surprising economic comebacks on Earth. Here is where the whole story turns. The country you've watched drown in pollution and poverty has, at the same time, been climbing. Extreme poverty here has fallen dramatically over the past 2 decades, cut nearly in half. And then comes the fact almost no one in the West expects. In recent projections for 2026, the International Monetary Fund estimates that Bangladesh's income per person has edged past India's around $2,900 a head. To be honest about it, that's measured in raw dollar terms. By other measures, India still leads. But for a nation once written off as one of the poorest on earth, just being in that conversation is staggering. People here also live longer now than their neighbors across the border, with a life expectancy that's climbed into the 70s. And there's a milestone on the horizon. Bangladesh is on track to graduate out of the United Nations list of the world's least developed countries. From one of the poorest places on earth at its birth in 1971 to stepping off that list entirely. That is not a bounce. That is a climb. So where is this crowded, chaotic, stubborn nation actually heading? The engine of this comeback is stitched by hand. Garments make up more than 80% of everything the country exports, tens of billions of dollars of it, built on the backs of those same factory workers. But it isn't a smooth story, and pretending otherwise would be a lie. Early in 2026, Bangladesh overtook China as a garment supplier to America. Yet its total exports dipped slightly that year, squeezed by new tariffs and fierce competition. What kept the economy standing through it was something more human. Record amounts of money sent home by Bangladeshis working abroad, remittances climbing to their highest level ever, propping up foreign reserves near $30 billion, even as inflation bit. Think about who that really is. The strength holding up this entire nation is millions of people working far from home, in hard conditions, mailing their wages back to families they barely get to see. And this brings us back to where we started, to the breath. You can look at Bangladesh and see only the poison in the air, the death in the river, the crush of the crowd. Or you can look closer and see a place that keeps breathing anyway, that buries 1,100 workers and rebuilds the industry, that counts its tigers and finds more, that gives its last shoes to a stranger's child. If this journey changed how you see this country, even a little, that's exactly why we make these videos. Consider subscribing and giving this one a like, so more stories from behind the headlines can find their way to you. We'd be very grateful. So which is the real Bangladesh? The one the title promised you the most toxic, the dirtiest, the poorest? Or the one you actually found? The truth is, it's both at once. The chaos is real. The poison is real. But the dignity, the kindness, and the sheer refusal to give up, those turned out to be more real still. And maybe that's the mirror. It's easy to call a distant place hell on earth. It's harder and truer to notice that the things we take for granted, clean air, an easy commute, a quiet river, were never guaranteed to anyone. A country the world calls broken is still standing, still breathing, still rising. 20 million people, one unbreakable spirit, and a lungful of that same heavy air, drawn in one more time and let go.